Hello and welcome back to Life by Design. I'm Karen Kolenovich of Healing in Bloom, and today's topic has to do with the benefits of fear. A lot of times when you think about life purpose and putting yourself out there and doing something that you've never done before, sometimes that can create feelings of fear, self-doubt, hesitation, overwhelm. And those are obviously not pleasant feelings. But what I want to speak into today is that those feelings that are masked as fear or negative emotions are not always simply those negative emotions. Sometimes those are there to signal areas of growth that we have yet to experience. So when you look at creating a career for yourself and stepping out and doing something that is in your heart to do, you've always wanted to do it, and yet there's a part of you that feels really scared. That is so normal, and it's okay to feel that way. However, I know that there are many people out there who have an amazing gift and purpose to share with the world, and they're holding themselves back because there is a level of fear in moving forward into the unknown. So what I want you to know is that it's a normal part of expansion. Anytime that you're growing and expanding, there is going to be an aspect of fear or anxiety connected to what you don't know yet. Your soul knows, but your human part of you doesn't know. Where you can most benefit is for you to be able to see that if you allow the leadership of your soul to guide the way and allow that human aspect of you to step back a little bit, you'll be able to see what is available to you. Now, these things might sound like they're not currently a part of your personality. One example that comes to mind, and this is something I've heard from many of my clients who are highly sensitive, they're empathic, and they may be introverted as well. I'm raising my hand with you because I fall into all of those categories as well. And so when it comes to starting a business and sharing your voice, sharing your message, there is a part of you that may say to yourself, I'm not extroverted, or I don't feel comfortable doing those kinds of things like being on camera or sharing my thoughts. So it's those kinds of perceptions about yourself that are actually meant to grow with you. So many people, when they start out, they don't quite feel ready. They don't know if they have what it takes to be able to put themselves in front of people. But the interesting part of this process is that fear or that doubt is actually meant to be looked into. When you feel that fear or hesitation or overwhelm, it's not necessarily a sign that going that direction is wrong or not a good choice for you. Because when you're stretching and expanding yourself beyond where you currently are, there is an aspect of it being uncomfortable, maybe even causing feelings of anxiety or fear. But once you push through that and you allow yourself to just take that one or two steps beyond where you currently are, you will likely see that you will be safe. You're going to be fine. You actually can do it, and you will grow into that. So a lot of your personal and spiritual development and growth is connected to your ability and your willingness to move toward those things that you are feeling a little bit fearful of, knowing that it is connected to your path. your higher path. And it's different from feeling a certain way and not respecting or honoring that feeling. It's more asking yourself this question, which is, what do I not want to do that I know I must in order to fulfill my purpose? Okay, so what do I not want to do that I know I must in order to fulfill my higher purpose? This is the question to ask yourself, because it's going to lead you straight to where you need to start placing your focus. I was that person who thought that maybe I wasn't outgoing enough, maybe I wasn't cool enough. You know, there were a lot of things that ran through my head when I thought about starting a business. And those fears, those doubts, if I had listened to them, I wouldn't have any of the abundance and the joy and the fulfillment that I enjoy today. So my point in sharing this with you is just to challenge you to look at some of those emotions that may be misinterpreted or may be masked as negative emotions and are actually pointing you in the direction of growth. And that's really what we're here to do. Those perceived weaknesses that we have, you know, those are actually opportunities for growth. So if you can start to look at those emotions that way and not necessarily interpret that it means you're not meant to do something, because that's where a lot of really powerful, talented, gifted empaths hold themselves back, and they are wasting time, and they will eventually come to that point where they don't care anymore about the fear, because that desire within them has grown to a point where they can no longer ignore it and they have to take action. And instead of wasting another several months or another few years, look at those emotions that show up as fear that you may misinterpret as your intuition pointing you in a different direction, when you're actually meant to go towards those emotions so that you can overcome them. We are not meant to feel comfortable in this life. We are meant to grow. We are meant to challenge ourselves. And if we are not growing and expanding, then we are stagnating. There are a lot of introverted entrepreneurs. There are a lot of highly sensitive entrepreneurs who have gotten to the level where they know that that fear that they feel is not a signal for them to stop and go a different direction. And it is those same people that have risen to the point where they have created businesses, they have been able to help hundreds, perhaps thousands of people, all because they had the courage and the commitment to themselves to rise above some of those human aspects that are actually there to allow us to grow. There is no shortcut when it comes to those deeper learnings that we are meant to experience. There is no substitute for the growth and the challenge and the expansion that happens every single time you allow yourself to stretch into a new place. So that's my message for you today, is to explore some of those emotions and thoughts that you have about yourself, and maybe something that is in your heart to do. And ask yourself, what is it that I don't want to do that I know that I must in order to fulfill my higher purpose? And from there, you're going to be pointed in that direction of where you can go. Now, some people benefit from support. I know that I did. I had a coach. I have colleagues that I work with. When you're expanding and you're growing and you're challenging yourself, you're really not meant to walk that path alone. And the good thing is that once you allow yourself to move forward into the unknown, you will actually be connected up with those people, with those circumstances that are synchronistic to that energy that you're stepping into. You know, usually you're connected to people who are even a few steps beyond you so that they can guide you. And that's a beautiful part of this process. Once you start taking steps forward in faith, and you know your energy, you know what you feel, you know what you want. And so instead of just giving into the thought of those limited beliefs or those negative emotions, look a little deeper for what might be underneath those, because it's not always something bad. It's not always negative baggage that you need to release. Sometimes it's something for you to forge towards and to move through. It is an amazing process when you start to allow yourself to gently push yourself beyond where you have allowed yourself to go in the past. And you'll start to see that you're capable of so much more than what you thought you were. Every person who is doing great things has had some version of fear or doubt or overwhelm. And the difference is that they didn't give in to those fears and doubts and overwhelm. They looked a little deeper, they acknowledged it, and then they moved in that direction to rise above that. And it takes practice, it takes discipline, and it takes commitment. So that's my challenge for you today. And this week is to ask yourself, what is beneath those emotions? What are the opportunities beneath those so-called negative emotions? There's something more there, and there is no substitute for this kind of personal growth and development. It must be initiated by you. And when you start stepping forward into your path and your power, you will be met with that same positive energy. You'll be met with all the support that you need to get to that next level. I hope this message has been a helpful reminder that not all fears are created equal, and sometimes it's an indication not of what to avoid, but what to move toward. And if you could use any support in your process and you'd like to learn about working with me, there's information below where you can find out more. Thank you again for joining me on Life by Design, and I'll see you next time.